Welcome back, trackside, once again, race fans here to the Turn 3 Racing Network. Tonight, we're kicking it old school once again at the high banks of Daytona International Super Speedway. That's right, it's the NASCVR's Masters of the Draft 87 Series. Back in action after a hectic week. Last week at the iRacing Super Speedway, we watched Dakota Bailey take his third win of the season. Will number 4 come here tonight and move him closer to securing his second mini-season championship? We'll find out in just 80 short laps. Track seems to be nice and cool here tonight as we get set to race under the lights from Daytona International Super Speedway. Things coming to a head here in the 87 machines. Week number 3 out of the 4-week mini season. Your season championship starting to shape up. Brandon Browning sitting top of the leaderboards, just 2 points ahead of Dakota Bailey, Andrew Moore, Joe Wells, and William Britton, winner of race number 1 in the 87 cars, inside of your top 5. Overall season championship, we'll get into that a little bit next week at Talladega Super Speedway. Bring you all of the rundown there. So as the music begins to fade away, you can hear the engines in the background. Final practice for these drivers to get the machines set for 200 miles of high-speed racing action here from Daytona International Super Speedway. And earlier today, in the U.S. Veterans Pole Award qualifying session, we'll take a look at those results for you. Andrew Moore going to lead them all with a quick time during qualifying. 43.76. Corey Cole, William Britton, David Duke. Well, Dylan Picklesheimer back on the track with us again here tonight. The number 12 inside of the top 5. Great qualifying effort out of him in that 12 crew. Travis Gilbert, only his second race with us here this season. We'll see how that too stacks up against the field. So a lot of racing ahead of us here tonight from Daytona International Super Speedway as drivers continue to run in this little bit of warm-up, happy hour, final practice, however you want to categorize it. Drivers just a handful of minutes remaining before they will set themselves on the journey to the checkered flag. Look at that beautiful sunset. Beautiful here at Daytona. So, now that we're here, now that we got you, how you doing? How you feeling? Out there in TV land, race fans, glad you could all join us here tonight. As always, Dave in the Cave bringing you all the calls from trackside. We are already trackside as these drivers continue to shake down the machines. Some single car runs going on right now. I gotta wonder what that's about. Will we see that tandem drafting? How will these drivers be able to contend with these speeds? They're over 200 miles an hour around this track. We already went through the old school, the bumpy, as the drivers like to refer to it, Daytona. Tail end of the car should be a little more stable tonight. Should be able to keep these machines underneath the drivers. And as I say that, we're going to have a driver wrecking right behind our camera. And I believe that may be Adam Benefield with some contact here in final practice. Looks like he'll be pulling the backup out. Fans going to slowly begin to file back to their seats, getting ready for tonight's 80th lap Daytona 200 here for the NASCVR Masters of the Draft 87 series. You can find them week in, week out every Thursday night right here. If you're looking for your adrenaline fix, they got you covered. The National Association of Stock Car Virtual Racing Masters of the Draft. Four manufacturers in the field here tonight. The Buicks, the Pontiacs, Chevys, and Fords gonna go at it here tonight for supremacy. The World Center of Racing, the granddaddy of them all. What every driver looks forward to, whether you're a NASCAR driver or even if you're one of those endurance drivers, coming to Daytona is a huge deal. And if you can put your name in the history books as walking away with the checkered flag in any sort of series here from Daytona, you have done something and you will be mentioned amongst the greats. So as the final few minutes remain here, we're going to step away for just a brief commercial break. Get ready to head trackside for your national anthem and your starting lineup, so don't go anywhere, race fans. We'll be right back.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly wailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rackets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Then back trackside as drivers begin to head to the cars. Everybody making their way through pre-race inspection. Handful of drivers already on the starting grid. Handful right in line. Looks like they're passing inspection pretty quickly here tonight. So not going to have very much troubles getting to the starting grid. Handful of drivers last week with some issues coming through tech. But tonight, majority of the field, nice, quick, breezy way on through. Large field of drivers tonight, over 20 in the field. Gonna try their hands at the checkered flag here tonight. And As you can hear the music in the background and drivers pulling to the side for their pre-race penalties, it's time to run down tonight's starting lineup for the Daytona 200. Starting from the pole position, your U.S. Veterans Pole Award winner behind the wheel of the number 77 machine. He's got that Caterpillar looking clean. Andrew Moore will lead us to the green flag. Orico just to his outside. William Britton, David Duke back in row number 2. Row number 3 here tonight, the number 12 machine of Dylan Picklesheimer and Zach Layden. Patrick Langley and Dakota Bailey in row number 4. Row number 5, the Drift King and Travis Gilbert. Daryl Johnson, Landon Lacey back in row number 6. Row number 7 here tonight from Daytona International Super Speedway, the 48 machine of Brandon Browning, followed by the 38 of Gregory Thurlow. Larry Bruner, Scott Wise, row 8. Row number 9 tonight for the Daytona 200 and the Masters of the Draft 87 Series, Joe Wells and Darren Mack. Mark Willett and Bowman Pendergast back in row number 10 and finishing out the field, starting from pit lane behind the wheel of the number 7 machine, Adam Benefiel. That's going to do it for your starting lineup. Handful of drivers starting from pit lane. Landon Lacey, Brandon Browning, Adam Benefiel will all start from the rear. So as the music begins to fade and drivers make their way to the restart zone, we're going to get set to go green flag racing for the first time here tonight from Daytona. Pace car down, engines come to life, and we are green flag racing here from Daytona. Lap number 1 in the bag, still out front. William Britton going to pick up 2 positions on the start of the race. What a run already for Britton. Pole sitter going to fall back to 4th. High and dry on the high lane right now. Looks like bottom feeders prevailing in the opening lap. And bump drafting of these machines a little bit different from what we are accustomed to. You can see that Xerox number 4 machine looking good, looking to the top of the racetrack now. The 12 of Picklesheimer going to move on up, block the run, slow the momentum. Here comes the 04. Well, that's the 64. We apologize. The 64 of William Britton. It'll look to the outside for just a moment. Not going to clear. The run's going to stall. Down the back stretch and towards turn number 3 on lap number 3. Comers and goers already here tonight. The number 25 of Larry Bruner up 11 positions from where he qualified. He is definitely trying to get to the front. So with 3 laps behind us, we're going to drop that time in scoring over to the left-hand side of your screen. Let you find and follow along with your favorite driver here tonight. And we're going to be packed up for quite a while, so let's jump around a little bit. Let's try to give you as much of the action as we can. You got 2 of those drivers lined up with each other right now. I believe that's going to be Gregory Thurlow in the 38 as well as I believe the 74. Yes, it is 74 of Zach Alanin, giving me those Days of Thunder Superflow feels. If you know, you know. If I gotta explain it, just go watch the movie, watch the race over, and you'll understand it. You'll get it, I promise. Side-by-side racing action, your pole sitter, Andrew Moore, falling through the field down 6 positions from where he started here tonight at Daytona. And we can expect to see that for the majority of tonight's race. We're going to see drivers running in the front. Handful of laps later, they may be mid-pack or rear of the field. Andrew Moore going to find a slot on the bottom of the racetrack and hang in line now, so the bleeding has stopped for the moment. Going to be tough to stay out there and lead every single lap here tonight, but Dylan Picklesheimer giving it all he's got, running it for what it's worth, driving like he stole it, if you will, because he is out there looking good here. Picklesheimer looking for victory lane for the first time this season. Long way to go. We'll see if he can get the job done here tonight. You can see a handful of drivers mixing things up in the rear of the field. Scott Wise, Patrick Langley, William Britton, and Jacob Drift hanging out towards that 15th position. Two stage winners going to be crowned here tonight, going to collect a handful of points, help themselves out not just in the mini series but in the overall points championship as well. No cautions though. We will not have true stage breaks. We're just going to keep it rolling. Unless there is a caution, we'll see how long these drivers can keep this thing green flag racing out there in these 87 machines. 197, 200 miles an hour through the corner. These machines are absolutely moving. David Duke gonna look to the top of the racetrack. The Nobility Racing driver looking to lead a lap. He's gonna get in at the line, but Picklesheimer gonna charge back with help from the 24 behind. Our good buddy William Britton tagging us whoa! Drivers tagging each other in the back, too. Oh, my goodness. Oh, there he goes up the track, down the track. Oh, the Drift King, number 14, with trouble. Bowman Pendergrass gonna miss some of the action here. Brandon Browning and Landon Lacey hanging out with each other in the back of the field as well. They're gonna miss some of that action. Scott Wise with troubles early here tonight as well. Handful of drivers with issues on lap number 9. As we were saying before we seen the contact on track, our good buddy William Britton checking in with us in pre-race wants to say Godspeed, good luck, peace, love, and bacon. And you know, if there's a slogan that could possibly save the world, I mean, why not that? Peace, love, and bacon. I mean, bacon makes everybody happy, unless religious views have you askew and not able to do so. That's the cleanest way we can put that. So we're gonna leave it there. But you know, they've got turkey bacon. I mean, I'm sure you can get chicken bacon somewhere as well. You know what? We're gonna get off. We're gonna get off this. I see myself going down a long road of nonsensical nonsense. So let's get back to the racing action here on track. Andrew Moore falling yet another position. He's going to drop 2 more spots. Now down to 9th. Hanging on to the top 10. Field spread out just a little bit here. Top 10 still within a second and a half of each other, but the trouble happened back there. Right here, you can see them. These drivers are part of the crew that had some trouble on the backstretch. Patrick Langley, Scott Wise, Mark Willett, Bowman Pendergast, all right here running with each other. Landon Lacey, the 54, nobility machine. The driver trying to get his way to the front of the field. Brandon Browning, Jacob Drift well behind them. Drift off of the lead lap. And here at Daytona, you're going to need a caution now. No mistakes about it. Jacob Drift, Adam Benefiel, both going to need cautions to work themselves back into possible contention here tonight. Once you go a lap down at Daytona, it's hard to get it back through race strategy. You typically have to depend on somebody else's downfall, somebody else's trouble. And we'll see if we have any trouble here tonight. Green flag racing for the opening 12 laps so far in the Daytona 200 as we head back inside of your top 10. There you can see that 24 of Dakota Bailey looking to make some moves. The Miller, number 2. Travis Gilbert down on the bottom of the racetrack, running in 6th. And Picklesheimer doing a heck of a job behind the wheel of that number 12 machine right now. Able to keep the field behind him. I tell you what, let's see if we can go on board. No, not that one, guys. Give me the one from inside the car. The one inside the car. No, I mean, there we go. There it is. The man putting in work behind the wheel. You can see him steady-eyed, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed behind the windshield, working the wheel. You see still little movements down the front stretch, tugging at that wheel as they make their way through 3 and 4. Theo gonna go scooting by us as we've got one driver down on the apron looking ahead to pit road. If we could pull the dashboards up, I mean, we've got in-car cameras, cockpit cameras. We've got cameras set up on gyroscopes inside of these machines as well. But if you could see the speeds these guys are turning in, just unbelievable. And can we get some of that telemetry, guys? Do we have some of that? Is it possible? Is that something we can do? I'm getting a thumbs up with a shaky hand behind it. I'm not quite sure. Oh, contact at the front. Contact at the front. Dylan Picklesheimer and David Duke getting into each other. And this is all going down. There you see it on your screen. At over 200 miles an hour, these drivers are beating and banging. Absolutely amazing speeds out of these 87 machines. One of the fastest NASCARs on the server, on iRacing. This is some of the quickest racing you're gonna find, barring the, I do believe, the C.O.T. cars. Do you remember those, the car of tomorrow's with the wing? I believe those may have just a little bit of an edge over these 87 old school rides. But again, 200 plus miles an hour, 3 wide into the corner. It's not going to work out at the front. Contact between Picklesheimer and that's going to cause some carnage. Driver's going to go around the 74, the 24, 78, the 9, all involved in this one. Big trouble here on lap number 17. There you can see the 9 able to drive away, but heavy damage on the front end of his car. Let's go back. Let's check the replay here. There you can see the contact between the 78 and the 9. Carnage ensues. 74 up and hard impact into the outside wall. Driver's side impact for the 78 up against the outside wall. Big trouble. Gilbert with issues. We had a look at Corey Coe's advantage. There's the contact between Picklesheimer and the 78. The 78 goes up the track. The 2 going to be collected in this. Travis Gilbert, Zach Lane and Dakota Bailey also going to catch a piece of the action. Daryl Johnson. So a laundry list of who's who here in the Masters of the Draft series involved in our first caution of the night. Contact running 3 wide into turn number 3. Didn't quite work out. And a handful of drivers going to either be in damage control mode or they're going to be tiptoeing, trying to keep their machines clean for the rest of the night. Majority of the field is going to come down to pit road. Lap drivers staying out on track. So as we've got ourselves our first caution, we're going to step away for just a brief commercial break. We'll be right back with all your green flag action live here from Daytona. And back trackside as drivers double file ready to press the loud pedal. Our good buddy Joe Hugo gonna get the pace car out the way. The boss man at the flag stand gonna wait William Britton to jump back onto the gas, lead us into the Geico restart zone, and away we go. Green flag flies once again here from Daytona. It looks like caution flag gonna fly immediately. Caution flag will fly once again here. Looks like debris. Track crew looks to have missed a little bit of debris. Forgotten out there on the racetrack, so drivers will catch up to the pace car, but caution will fly quickly once again here from Daytona. Looking again to see if there's any issues, and it looks like yes, debris indeed. So the lead racing number 64 of William Britton will continue to lead the field here tonight. Let's check out a couple of the cool paint schemes out there on the track here tonight. You can look and find the number 9 machine of Corey Coe. Great shot of Gregory Thurlow down on the bottom of the racetrack, one of our few Buick drivers in the field. Mark Willett back here, the 55 Motorsports Little Rescue. Number 8 machine, Little Rescue, saving lap cars one caution at a time. Something we haven't seen a factor here tonight. We've been accustomed to seeing them run together, run in the front. That Nobility Sports and Entertainment team, a little spread out. The 54 has found his teammate Brandon Browning. They'll line up nose to tail for this next restart, so slowly they are finding themselves running back together, but over a quarter of the race already gone tonight. We'll see. We'll see if they can work their way to the front. The K&N number 31 of Scott Wise inside of the top 10, running in the 8th position, up 8 spots from where he qualified, so we could run up through the field so far for Wise. But I gotta like this man right here. Can we get another shot? Can we get that? The onboard shot. Yes, that one. Can we get that? There it is. Inside the wheel. Inside the car, behind the wheel, I should say. Larry Bruner putting in work here tonight from Daytona. This 25 machine has gained 11 positions here tonight. Biggest mover of the race so far, inside of the top 5 now. We're going to keep our eye on Bruner. Driving my car number. Gotta be a fan. So we'll await the one finger wave at the front of the field from the boss man in the flag stand. Our good buddy Joe Hugo going to cut those pace car lights back off once again and get us rolling. Here at Daytona. A long night of racing still ahead of these drivers. Handful of them with contact under our first caution look to be in heavy damage control at this moment in the race. Keeping that fast fix, that quick repair in their back pocket, maybe wanting to utilize it a little bit later tonight. Travis Gilbert, Jacob Drift, Darren Mack, Patrick Langley, Daryl Johnson, all lengthy stays on pit road, both under our first caution as well as our second here for debris. So fortunate enough for those drivers, they're gonna get a little extra time to work on the car before truly going back racing. So we'll see if that's gonna help them stay with the pack anymore, or if they may have chosen the wrong strategy by not electing to take that fast fix just yet. Now, we talked about the nobility teammates. You can see two of them lined up nose to tail on the inside line. About a row or two back on the high side, you can find their next teammate, David Duke. So again, slowly but surely finding their way together. We'll look for those drivers to be a factor before the end. Back onto the triover, pace car out the way, and away we go. Green flag flies once again here from Daytona International Super Speedway. Short-lived battle for the top spot as Picklesheimer going to get a good jump. William Britton going to slide in line right behind him down on the bottom of the racetrack. Looks like a lot of drivers electing to stay on the bottom right now. Trying to work themselves away. Big push into the corner. Ready to go back. Jump around a little bit through this field. There you can see the 48 looking to the high side. Looking to use that run, looking to use the draft. Not going to be able to make the pass just yet. He'll drop back on the bottom lane just in front of his teammate. Corey Coe now looking to the high side. Scott Wise going to try to follow him. And you can see these drivers snaking their way across the track, trying to keep themselves locked into the draft with the driver in front of them. 3-car breakaway at the front. Picklesheimer leads Britain and more. Side-by-side racing action, 2 rows deep here. Through the tribal, the nobility teammates. The duo has now become a trio. Here comes that 78 of David Duke. Sparks flying out of the right side of the 48 machine. As he works his way through 1 and 2, we're going to see if that's going to affect the handling of the car. Seems to be one of the few drivers out there showing those sparks getting into the corner. We're going to keep our eye on it, and it should become more prevalent as the night goes on as well. Darren Mack going to go by Darrell Johnson for 17th. Langley getting by Johnson as well. Gilbert and Wells going at it for 13th. Zach Landon going to go by Wells now for 14th position. So it's not all about what's going on at the front. Check out what's going on near the tail end of this field as we approach lap number 30 here tonight. Chasing them down the track, looking for the draft. The 2 all over the tail end of that 24. Oh, into the outside wall. The 80 into the outside wall. He's going to float it to the high side. And right into the outside wall. Tough break there for the 80 machine. He's going to give up a little bit of speed. Willett heading to the rear. Meanwhile, front of the field, snaking their way off of turn number 2, down the back stretch, single file through your first 5 positions. We're watching the 48 and the 54. Their teammate right behind him, the 9 of Corey Coe, trying to slot in line. Single file racing ensues here at Daytona. Great camera work here tonight from all of the cameramen and women nestled around the track, bringing you all of this great action to hear from Daytona International Super Speedway. Sold out, packed house once again here tonight for the Masters of the Draft. As they head back into the corner, everybody single file on the bottom. Your U.S. Veterans Poll Award winner, Andrew Moore, looking to the high side, looking to take that top spot away by the Caterpillar number 77. Showing up as the 22 by the number 77 on our Tommy and scoring. Andrew Moore, third position for that top spot, but just couldn't quite get the job done solo out there, so he'll fall back in line, look to regroup. Will the 25 go with him? No, looks like the 25 wants to stay on the bottom of the racetrack. And here comes Gregory Thurlow. These guys are going to have to watch leaving that bottom lane open. Here comes the 48, going to stick the nose of the car just to the inside. Somehow the 38 of Thurlow going to pull just enough of an advantage to cut that run off. Brandon Brownie going to have to re-rack him. Less than 10 laps away from the cross sticks, the halfway point here tonight at the Daytona 200, brought to you by the National Association of Stock Car Virtual Racing Masters of the Draft. Five weeks. Five seasons. There you go. 5 seasons split up in 4-week mini seasons across the board, different machines, all on super speedway tracks. That's why it's called the Masters of the Draft. We've already been in those Gen 7 machines, visiting the 87s. We're going to jump to the Gen 4s, the Xfinity rides, the Gen 6 as well this season. So if plate racing is your thing, if you think you can see the air and predict the energy, hit these gentlemen up. I promise you, there's some of the best in the business to do it right here on iRacing.com, the world's #1 racing simulator. Over 5 billion. That's right. That's a lot of zeros. Over 5 billion laps ran on iRacing.com. Over 10,000 drivers online this evening. So if you want a race, there's a race out there for you. Hands down, the best platform of competitive esports racing you will find, and some of the best super speedway racers right here with the Masters of the Draft. Drivers getting a little antsy out there on the track. Looks like we're nearing not only the halfway point, but also that stage 2 points handout pay window. Ooh, bit of a moment there. 25 almost goes around. Larry Bruner will save it, but he's going to lose a ton of track time now, all the way back outside of your top 15. Still in the draft, so he can still make his way back to the front, but that's all it takes. One slide in these 87s, no power steering. Yeah, you're going to be putting in some work. Looks like we're going to have 3 on 3 for your top 6 positions. And no, the 78 going to back out of it. He's going to stop the run. Brewing behind from Thurlow. Going to slow that single file lane down. While teammates Brandon Browning and Landon Lacey try to work the high line and work their way to the front of this field. Great run so far here for Picklesheimer. He's been one of the only drivers able to really, I don't want to say hold the drivers at bay, but he's been able to control the energy, control the draft. Oh, big wreck, the 64 up and around and over. He's flipping, oh my gosh. Ooh, big time trouble for William Britton. Where does he land? He lands on all fours, but oh my. Now that is, ooh, that's tough. Let's see if we can't get a camera shot of that one. Let's go check the replay. Oh my goodness. Out of the camera's view here on the front stretch. Let's see if we can back it up. Does the turn 4 camera have it? Oh my gosh. Flipping, barrel rolling, trouble. You never want to find yourself upside down. That's always a problem. One more look. Did the onboard camera make it? And that's, oh my gosh. It's one heck of a carnival ride. Third caution of the night gonna fly here. On lap number 36, contact at the front, right at a stage break once again. So drivers pushing the envelope, pushing to try to get some stage point, trouble, carnage, chaos, and a handful of drivers going to be caught up and involved in this one. 64 of William Britton going to catch a piece of the action. A lot of drivers also involved in this one. Scott Wise, I believe, caught a piece of the action. Adam Benefel, Larry Bruni, Darren Mack. Bowman Pendergrass also going to catch a little bit of damage off of this one. So while the majority of the field does come down pit road, the Budweiser number 7 of Adam Benefield looks to try to get at least one of his multiple laps back. We'll see if the 7 pits next time around. So here we are, right at the halfway point here tonight. Andrew Moore will win the race off of pit road. David Duke, Dylan Picklesheimer, with Landon Lacey, Corey Coe, rounding out your top 5. So 3 cautions to open up the first half of tonight's race. We'll go back green flag racing with just 100 miles of action remaining here tonight. 40 laps around this 2.5 mile track. Drivers racing for supremacy. Drivers looking to improve their 87 season standings as well as their overall point standings. Trying to find your overall points leader in there. You can see him back in the 7th position behind the wheel of the 24 Chevy. Right there in your picture, you can find him just now making his way into the triangle. Looks like he may be eyeballing pit road once again. Dakota Bailey came into tonight's race sitting 20 points ahead of his closest competitor in the overall season championship. Still a long way to go before we crown him the king. But he was the king of the Gen 7s So the guy knows how to draft. He knows how to get the job done. You're watching Adam Benefield get one of his 3 laps back. Bowman Pendergast going to elect to come to pit road. He will stay 1 lap down. So I guess now's as good a time as any to give you your driver highlight spotlights, your bid race report. We started with 21 drivers in the field here tonight. We've still got all 21 out on the track, but it looks like only 19 left on the lead lap for the time being. Out front, your U.S. Veterans Bowl Award winner behind the wheel of that Caterpillar number 77 Ford machine, Andrew Moore, will bring us back to the green flag. Up 2 positions from where he qualified tonight, David Duke. Get a start from the head of that outside row. The man that's led the most laps here tonight, Dylan Picklesheimer, right there sitting in 3rd. We'll see if that 12 can have a good restart to get back to the point. Landon Lacey, the Nobility teammate, right behind him. Corey Coe, Brandon Browning, rounding out your top 6. And again, it's time to drop the hammer as we go back. Green flag racing here from Daytona International Super Speedway. Good jump for Moore, but how far do you want to get out front? We're going to see that momentum work on the high line. Teammates working together. Duke going to surge forward now down the backstretch. The 54 all over his rear bumper. The 78 clear, but the 54 unable to clear. Big run now on the bottom side of the racetrack. Moore back to the lead. Side by side for your top 4 positions. Moore will lead the lap back across the line. The 12 of Picklesheimer's hanging with him all over his rear deck lid. It looks like the Nobility train has broken up. They're going to drop to the bottom of the racetrack. It looks like David Duke going to fall in line, and here goes Picklesheimer. He's going to try his hand. Wasn't sure if that 78 was going to stay with him. It'd go, so he drops right back in line. Your top 3 stepping away. Half a second advantage. Under fire for the race lead, Dylan Picklesheimer goes to the top of the racetrack. He's got help from a little bit of a draft behind him from the... Oh my gosh, that was close. Ooh, Picklesheimer's, wow, threading the needle right there. Getting down to the bottom of the racetrack to regain the race lead once again. Picklesheimer to the point. Top 3 still holding at least a half a second advantage. Corey Coe leads Zach Alanin, Landon Lacey, Brandon Browning, Dakota Bailey, Jacob Drift. What a turnaround tonight for that 14. Drift King. Joe Wells will finish out your top 10. Trying to look at the lap times right now, and it looks like we're right around that 43:10. Will be one driver in the field here tonight breaking into the 42s. A 42:52. My goodness, that's quick. Travis Gilbert going to be credited with the fastest lap of the race so far here tonight. The Miller number 2 back outside of your top 15, sitting in 19th right now. Damage control, heavy damage control is still going on for this too. He's just going to try to hold on, hope and pray for a caution. Possibly use that quick fix a little later here tonight. So a man in a race on to himself will go back inside of your top 10. Closest battles on the racetrack: Brandon Browning, Dakota Bailey, Jacob Drift. And again, amazing to see that Dylan is able to just control the race the way he's been able to from the front of the field. We've seen drivers do it in the past, be able to control the race for 4 to 5 laps at a time. Picklesheimer, once he gets out front and he gets the clear air on the nose, he is very good at controlling the lines behind him. The number 9 of Corey Coe going to go into the outside wall. A little bit of scrape and damage on the right side. Doesn't slow the run down for Coe just yet. Landon Lacey and Zach Alanin right here. So what was a 3-car breakaway, now a 6-car breakaway. Your top 6 have almost a 1-second advantage over this pack, being led by the Drift King himself, Jacob Drift with K&N. 31 of Scott Wise behind him, Joe Wells, Dakota Bailey, Brandon Browning, Patrick Lacey, Larry Bruner, all right here running in this line, this long train of cars in the second pack. A little bit of movement here out of a handful of the cars. So there's the tail end of this second pack. Gregory Thurlow now going to look to the high side. Thurlow wants to get away. Meanwhile, just in front of these guys there, excuse me, there you can see the 22, or 77, we apologize, the 77 of Andrew Moore. Your U.S. Veterans Pole Award winner, I mean, he has pace built into the machine, but just has trouble hanging up there at the front. Picklesheimer still shows the way. David Duke going to take over second. Landon Lacey now into third. Jacob Drift knocking down the deficit by about a half a second in the past 3 laps, so definitely bringing that second pack to the front of the field. Down the backstretch, high above the track with our turn 3 drone cam. We're going to look at this entire field as now teaming up and ganging up on Picklesheimer. David Duke going to take the top spot away. Out of turn 4 and on to the front stretch, we watch as these drivers continue to go at it and jockey for position at the front of this field. And a big shout out to all 3 of our drone cam operators here tonight. Big shout out to Chris Rock, as well as John Connor, Blockade Johnson. Great camera work from all of those guys manning the drone cameras for us here tonight. Nobility teammates working together once again. We mentioned it, 2 to 3 times now through tonight's race. They had trouble finding each other, but once they have found each other, they have been glued to each other's bumper, working with each other, making moves to lead laps, making moves to try to gain that top spot. And here we are now with 30 laps remaining. Whoa, in trouble! Not clear at the front, and this is going to be a big one. Scott Wise going to catch some damage. The 48 is going to catch some damage. Big trouble here on lap number 51. Trouble at the front. And this is where we've seen the trouble all night. Trouble at the front of this field after the contact. There it is. Nobility teammates into each other. They're going to pick up a third teammate with some damage. Oh, man. Big, heavy damage for a handful of drivers. The Xerox number 4. Going to come sliding to the stop. David Duke, Darren Mack, Dylan Picklesheimer, all with trouble. Let's take a look here at Picklesheimer. Damage doesn't look to be too significant for Picklesheimer, but he may be burning that fast repair by the time this is all said and done. So we're going to go back to the front of the field with a new race leader here tonight for the first time. Out front, behind the wheel of the number 9 machine, Rico will take the top spot away. So as we do find ourselves under caution for the 4th time here tonight, pit road will be open. We would expect to see the majority of the field come down pit road for what could be the final stop of the night. We're going to step away for just a brief commercial break. Don't go anywhere, race fans. We'll be right back.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams, race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
And back trackside, just as the pace car ducks off, we are back. Green flag racing once again here from Daytona International Super Speedway. William Britton won the race off of pit road. He's going to step out and away from the field. The 54 of Landon Lacey going to try to track him down. Your U.S. Veterans Bowl Award winner, Andrew Morris, slotted in third. Joe Wells in fourth. Corey Coe now rounds out your top five. "53 laps into tonight's race before we seen our first retirement. Trouble in the Nobility stable as David Duke has been pushed behind the ball. Duke will be the first and only driver listed out of tonight's race. Scott Wise is still on pit road trying to fix his machine after the troubles were and big loose condition for the 64. He's trying to save it. Oh, wow. You know, if we cussed, we would have definitely cussed right there. That was a pucker moment. There you go. That's how we'll put it. Back out front, Joe Wells, Andrew Moore utilized the trouble from race leader to try to step away. Half a second advantage for the two-car tandem at the front. Back across the stripe, but less than 25 to go. Joe Wells leads for the first time here tonight in the Daytona 200. So we've seen the intensity levels pick up tonight right around those stage breaks. We would expect to see the intensity level pick up. Oh, and we got trouble. Trouble in turn 3. Trouble in turn 3. Oh, it's a parking lot. The 7 involved. The 80. The 2. All involved in this one. Larry Bruner going to catch a piece of the action. Oh, my goodness. A handful of drivers now going to be caught up and involved in this latest incident. Caution number 5 on the track here from Daytona. Let's see if we can't get this one queued up on the replay. Waiting for the thumbs up over there. And trying to zero in on what exactly took place. Looking for the best camera angle for that contact as well. Let's take a look back here. Let's see what happened. It all goes down in front of the 2. There you can see the 4 involved, the 59 involved as well. One more look at it here. There's the 12 of Picklesheimer. A little bit of damage on the rear end. Oh, the 25 comes in and hits clean up. that might, this caution, those hits right there may thin this field out just a little bit more. We were already saying only one driver listed down and out, but with multiple drivers having heavy, significant contact, one of them already on the record, the form of Patrick Langley. You're gonna go straight behind the ball, right to the garage. Pendergast also with some damage. Man, handful of drivers here. So we're going to go back green flag racing with right at 20 laps remaining here tonight. Drivers are going to have to position themselves to push at the proper times. We've seen some runs work, but it takes 2 to 3 laps to really get those runs generated, especially on that high side. So, I mean, with 20 laps to go, when do you make that move? You know, a lot of times strategies here at these super speedways, you know, that double yellow line, your best friend, and indeed it is. You don't have to worry about drivers making a pass on you down to the inside. It's out of bounds. You can't use it. But what I don't like is that you're pinned, right? The drivers on the outside, they can come down and side draft you, crowd you a little bit, pinch you off of these corner exits. And with these 87 machines, they kind of like to float a little bit up out of the corner. When they come up off of the banking right there on the transition, they like to float out just a little bit. And I want to have that room. You know, so I like the high side. Personally, I like to be on the high lane with about 10 laps to go. I think you have more options and making a move than if you're down on the bottom of the racetrack. But in a retrospect, if something happens, it's almost a self-cleaning track. You know, the wreck is going to come up the track, and then it's going to come back down. So if you are on the high side and something happens in front of you, if you don't get by initially, you're more than likely going to find yourself wrapped up in it. So there's the downfall of running that high line, of working the high lane. But it does have its benefits as well as that inside lane. Personally, as I've said, I like that high line. Just past 120 miles ran here tonight. We've got ourselves close to 60 miles of racing remaining. 20 laps to go when we drop the green flag here for this latest restart. Our good buddy Joe Hugo's already got the pace car lights out. Field a double file through 3 and 4, and we'll get ready to unleash the beast once again here from Daytona International Super Speedway. You're watching the Masters of the Draft, presented to you by the National Association of Stock Car Virtual Racing. Back into the triover, pace car down and away. Field awaits Joe Wells to hit the loud pedal, and there it is, all the gas, and green flag flies once again here at Daytona. Lacey and Browning Nobility teammates, they have found each other once again on the inside lane. We're going to keep our eye on them, see if they start working together. Team standings coming into tonight's race, the Torqued Rinse Motorsports team out front by 22 points over TNT. So there's a handful of things going on this season. We've got the 4-week mini championship. We have the overall Masters of the Draft championship. We've got a team championship involved as well. So these drivers not only have to think about themselves, but they got to think about their team. And the 64-weed racing machine of William Britton, he's going to fall back in line. Look to the high side for a moment. But Britton, no stranger to how to get to the front. He walked away with the first checkered flag at the bumpy old Daytona to open up things here in the first round of the 87 series. And where is your pole sitter? There he is. Andrew Moore gonna run fourth here. The Caterpillar car right behind the 93 of Darrell Johnson. One of the first times we've seen Johnson inside of your top 3 here tonight. He's up 8 positions from where he qualified. So the only 2 Pontiacs in the field, they're both inside your podium. We remain single file through this entire lead pack. First, all the way back through 12th position. You can see the 25 of Larry Bruner peeking out just a little bit. Bruner going to have to be careful not to lose this lead draft. Unfortunately for the 14 of Jacob Drift, he's lost the lead draft. He does have some help with the 80 of Mark Willett right behind him, but both of these drivers well off pace and well behind the field. We are watching what we like to call the calm before the storm. 15 laps remaining here from Daytona International Super Speedway, and we are single file through your top 10, your top 12 in this lead pack, all running nice, neat, orderly, but will it remain that way? I'm going to say no. No, I've been around a little while. I've watched 1 or 2 of these things, and I'm just expecting some moves to be made within about another, and I would say about 5 to 6 laps is when we should see that outside lane really begin to try to work itself into something. Overheating has not been an issue so far here tonight, these 87 machines. That's one thing the drivers haven't had to worry about, right? They've had some clean air here or there, but for the past about 6 to 7 laps, they have been nose to tail, single file, bottom of the racetrack. Wonder just how hot these engines are getting as they are reaching upwards of 111 miles an hour down the backstretch and into turn number 3. That is actually absolutely hauling the mail. And if you don't believe me, I'll tell you what, we're going to show you one more time. Let's see if we can't go on board with your race leader. Do we got that on board camera, guys? Do we got it? Tell me he's running one. All right, we don't have our cockpit camera, but we do have our turn 3 gyro cam on board here tonight with race leader out front, Joe Wells. There you can see. Let's watch that speedometer go. 215 miles an hour entering the corner. That's ludicrous, and I ain't talking about the Raptor. Excuse us, absolutely just cooking it. I love to hear those engines singing that high RPM here around these restrictor plate tracks. 11 laps to go. We're still single file. So who's going to do it? Who's going to make the move? We've seen the 12 of Picklesheimer lead the most laps here tonight. He caught a little bit of contact under our 5th caution of the evening on the tail end of that number 12 machine. Will it be enough to take away from the speed? Can he jump out and have somebody go with him? Will your pole sitter, sitting 4th in line, will he be the first to jump? We know those nobility drivers have no problem with jumping to the high side. Oh, we got trouble behind. Trouble behind. Larry Bruning, the 38 of Gregory Thurlow, they're going to have some contact here. 3 and 4 into the outside wall. Both drivers keep it heading in the right direction, but big moment there as 2 drivers have now erase their name or toss their name out of the hat. They're going to need a late race caution to try to get back into this thing. And there it is. We called it, didn't we? We said those nobility drivers have no problem going to the top. Looky here, looky here. Only 2 cars on the top of the racetrack, and they're both the nobility stable of drivers, working well with each other. The 54 and the 48 going to try to produce some energy and run to the front. A short-lived run from the tandem on the high side. The 54 really working the side draft and able to stay up there with about your top 3 on that outside lane. But a huge one this is going to do is give that high side a huge run. 24 Dakota Bailey, he sees what's going on. He jumps to the high side. That's going to bring the high lane back just a little bit. The 3's got to be careful here, leaving a bit of a gap between himself and Picklesheimer. The 12 electing not to take the run just yet, but here comes that 54 to the high lane. Run's going to stall on the high side once again as drivers make their way down the backstretch and into turn number 3. We roll side-by-side action starting to pick up here late in the Daytona 200. 54 heading in the wrong direction for the time being. That run going away, dissipating, falling apart. The nobility teammates gonna have to regroup, regather, re-rack them, and rerun them. Trouble for the 74 of Zach Lane, and he's got a lose condition through the. Oh my gosh! Woo! Dakota Bailey. Woo! Dodged a bullet. Zach Lanen, all sorts of out of shape, coming back up the racetrack, almost into that 24. Whew. You could hear how excited we got. I guarantee you, Bailey was just as, let's call it, aware. High five from the boss man in the flag stand. This last time around, it's going to be the 5-finger wave. Just 5 laps to go. Here from Daytona International Super Speedway, 15 miles of racing action remain for these drivers to try to capture the checkered flag tonight. Race number 3 in these 87 machines, setting things up for the season championship night at Talladega Motor Speedway, coming up at you next Thursday night. Go ahead, if you haven't already, mark it down on your calendar. Show these drivers some love and appreciation. And I tell you what, join us into that push for 4,000 subscribers. Drop these drivers a thumbs up, click subscribe, smash the bell over there with the right-hand side to get notified anytime we go live. You don't need a camera. You'll get a fancy little notification to let you know when racing action is about to go down right here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. We've seen some great racing action here tonight, side by side. The 3's going to go up the racetrack. The 3 going to open up the door. Oh, in trouble. Oh, my. Up and over and around, flipping, twirling, kick, flipping, Tony Hawk style here. The 3's somehow going to land on all 4 wheels, and we're going to stay green flag racing. We're going to stay green flag racing. 3 laps to go, but we got to see this again. We're going to go back to replay one time here. Let's check this out. There's the contact down to the inside of the racetrack. Up and over, around and around, flipping, barrel rolling, cartwheeling. Oh my goodness. So there's the late race trouble. And the caution will fly. We may have had more trouble as we were checking out the replay. Let's see what happened here. Larry Bruner contact with the outside wall after avoid. Oh my gosh! Ooh, that hurt. One time inside of the cockpit, 30 team working the wheel, trying to save it, up and over. He's got it, and oh. Whew. That's a teeth-chattering hit right there. My gosh. So some big wrecks at the end of this thing. Contact at the front. You can see the 48 of Brandon Browning. Heavy damage. 54 may not be very happy with your pole sitter. Got to come up, give him a couple nudges under caution. We've got temperatures rising here as the sun has already set and the time is starting to run out. And we've got contact coming to pit road. Contact coming to pit road. It's going to be interesting to see what race officials may do here if the 77 was caught speeding on entry to pit road, being bumped onto pit road. Got to ask yourselves if they're going to maybe overlooked that when chalking up to the contact. Ton of drivers onto pit road. Well, we're going to have ourselves a shootout, green-white checkered finish here tonight at the Daytona 200 for the Masters of the Draft, Zach Alanin. Showing the way, Dylan Picklesheimer electing to stay out on the track. A little bit of right front damage for that 12 machine. He may have to stay in line. 31 of Scott Wise remains out on track, but he is multiple laps down, sitting in 17th for the moment. Race off of pit road, though. How about this? Mark Willett going to come out, win the race off of pit road. He's going to pick up now 16 positions from where he qualified. So Mark Willett turning things around. We've seen the 80 Little Rescue Chevy involved in trouble early here tonight. We've seen that 64 also have some issues getting loose all on his own. It's going to be... I think we're going to have ourselves a crazy finish here. Pace car lights are off. We are set to go. Green flag racing once again. This time by Elated and Picklesheimer electing to stay out on the track. Willett, Britton, both with fresh tires. Jacob Drift, where did he come from? The 14 mired with damage early here tonight. Pressing on. Perseverance, proving to be a factor. And what do you do now, right? You almost got to stay in your lane, really. It's going to be hard to make moves. You're going to be double file right off the get-go. It's all about how quickly you can jump on the gas on this restart. If you're back in that second, third lane, you got to be looking to the middle. Off of these corner exits, you got to be looking to try to go to the middle. We're going to see if that's going to be... the choice of lanes for these drivers. We're going to see who walks away with the checkered flag. We're going to see if we have a new race winner for the first time in a handful of weeks here with the Masters of the Draft 87 series. And it's about time. Here we go. Drivers into the restart zone on the gas, and green flag flies as the 74 going to nail the loud pedal. Good jump over Willett. The 12 going to stay on the bottom of the racetrack. 64 going to drop down from the top to the bottom. That's going to open up the door for Dakota Bailey on the outside to lead that high lane. 64 tries to drift up. Bailey going to okey-doke him and go to the bottom. Still side by side, halfway down the backstretch. Popsicle sticks on display at the drop of the restart green flag. There's Picklesheimer back to the point. Big run on the high side from the 12 and the 64 afforded the race lead to Dylan Picklesheimer. He's going to be in defense mode here for 2.5 more miles. We'll cross the line this time by white flag flies. Final lap in the Daytona 200, brought to you by the National Association of Stock Car Virtual Racing. To the high side goes the 64. Will he get the nose out? He gets the nose out there. It's going to be a drag race down the backstretch, side by side. Trouble behind him. Drivers up and over, flipping down the backstretch. More trouble. 3-car breakaway at the front. Joe Wells looking for his first checkered flag of the season. William Britton looking for his second. Britton with the run. Wells going to stay to the bottom. At the line, too close to call. At the line, too close to call. I think they're going to give it to Britton. I think they're going to give the nod to William Britton on the high side. Tell you what, let's go back. Let's take one more look here. And where are we looking? There we are. And just unable to really see from that vantage point. Let's see. Do we got another camera, guys? Can we see the drone? Could that possibly tell us where it all? And they're giving us a nod. Let's go check the replay on this finish one more time. There's the move to the outside. Coming out of turn number 4 through the tri-oval. Let's slow this thing down here. And there it is. With just a nose in front. William Britton gonna take the top spot. An amazing job from both Joe Wells and William Britton. They're both going to burn it down on the front stretch, giving the fans in the stands a bit of a smoke show. Post-race celebrations in order for your race winner here tonight in the Daytona 200 behind the wheel of the Weed Racing Smoke Shop Ford. William Britton captures the checkered flag. With that being said, we're going to step away for just a brief commercial break, get things set up and ready to go for your post-race interviews. Don't go anywhere, race fans. We'll be right back. And back trackside at the conclusion of tonight's Daytona 200 right here for the National Association of Stock Car Virtual Racing. The Masters of the Draft put on yet another show behind the wheel. What a race, what a night. We're going to run down your podium drivers here tonight, walking away with a third and final spot on the podium here tonight. Behind the wheel of that 38 machine, great recovery, up 11 positions from where he qualified tonight. Gregory Thurlow walks away from the track in third place tonight. That's going to move us right along the list, and we're going to see if we can grab a word or two with the man that finished in second here tonight. Let's see if we can't dial up the man behind the wheel of that number 3 Pontiac. Joe, it's Dave. You got a copy?
Dave, how you doing, man? I got you.
Doing good, my man. How you feeling after a fine finish with a little bit of chaos at the end?
I am more than excited right now. I mean, shout out to my teammate there, William, taking the win for me. I mean, I can't be mad at that at all, right? G Lightning Motors 1-2. I'm a happy camper with that one. I think Gregory Thurlow got P3 as well, so glad to see him on the podium. I'm happy, especially with had a little bit of a flight takeoff there on lap, I think 78 or something like that. So I definitely caught a break with the caution flag coming out and was able to wait to use my quick repair until the end, and it worked out in my benefit.
So you mentioned taking flight for just a moment. We've seen a handful of drivers out here in these 87s in particular doing their best Tony Hawk kickflip impressions. Do you guys got like an X Games like baddest trick going on? Like, is there something with this?
I'm not sure. I mean, I saw Drift have one. I think it was last week or the week before, and it's pretty hard to one up that one. So once I go back and watch this replay, I'm excited to see how much hang time I was able to catch.
Well, if there isn't a category, I think me and you just made it up. So, Scott, Lauren, get the best flip trophy award ready by the end of the season. No, I'm just kidding. Um, Joe, a heck of a run for you here tonight. Let's get to the point here on the point standings. You came into tonight's race 9 points back in the 87 series, a total of 41 points back in the overall championship. This is going to give you a good bump in the right direction. How you feeling about things heading into Talladega for the final time in these old school machines?
Oh, I'm feeling really comfortable. Talladega is definitely my favorite track, and like I said a couple weeks back when I was fortunate enough to be on the podium and talking with you again, I mean the 87s are my Achilles heel. So just right now, showing myself that I can have a strong showing in these cars and make it towards the end there and avoid the chaos has me feeling really good for the rest of the season in those cars that I actually feel really confident in. So it's a real big confidence booster going into the last week of the 87 series. The end goal is the big goal, right? I want to get the championship at the end of the season. If I get any sub championships, that's just a extra couple bucks in my pocket and a smile on my face. So there's a bigger picture at the end of the season, and I'm definitely helping that goal right now.
Well, you're representing the team well, having another great finish here tonight. So before we let you go and enjoy this one with the teammates, would you like to give any final shout outs, thank yous, love yous?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Got quite a few shout outs here. So big shout out G Lightning Motors. Love putting GLM on the podium. Big shout out William getting that P1 as well. I had no intention of throwing a block or anything. I wanted to race to the end with him. He's my teammate, and him getting P1 is just as much as me getting P1. So I'm very content right now. Big shout out to Greg getting on the podium as well. Shout out to all the guys at G Lightning Motors. I know Krishan couldn't make the race tonight, so Missy Bud, shout out Rob, shout out Yimmy as well. Big shout out to my man Daryl. Daryl is a great human being, and if any of you guys ever have the opportunity to meet up with him on track, should always take that opportunity. He's a great fucking person. Sorry for my swearing. Um, and yeah, and just shout out to my friends I know are watching back home. I think Joe, Tom, my girlfriend watching as well. And then big shout out to attachmentsking.com, best attachment supplier in the game for your heavy machinery equipment needs. We'd love to see some web traffic, so please show up at attachmentsking.com. We'd love to see you there.
All right. Well, Joe, again, congratulations on the great run here tonight. Well, we'll see how things go next week at Talladega. But until then, my friend, stay safe and as always, keep it fast.
Absolutely. And I forgot to say, I just want to say shout out to you in the booth, Dave. Thank you for all the hard work you're doing. Shout out Turn 3 Network, Buster's Corners, Little Rescue. Shout out Laura and Scott for doing an amazing job for this as well. Appreciate all of you guys so incredibly much.
All right, there you have it. Final few words for the man that walked away in second, and it looks like some time freeing up. Excuse me, some time freeing up as we're still trying to await Britain's car getting to victory lane. So, what do you say we try to get a word or two in with this man right here? He's the guy that walked away in the third spot here tonight. Final spot on the podium behind the wheel of that 38 machine. Greg, it's Dave. You got us?
Yep, I got you.
Hey, man. How you doing? How you feeling after a pretty solid night and, well, in all honesty, a one hell of a recovery?
It was nice to run up front with these guys for a while. I made a mistake there, but it was a blessing for me.
So, a little bit of a crazy start to the race, a little bit of a crazy finish there, um, chalking things up. How you feeling about heading forward into Talladega for the final time behind the wheel of these 87s?
Well, I finally feel like I'm getting the hang of these 87s now, and then it's going to be over because they sure are a handful.
Oh
A
yeah,
lot of fun to drive.
I mean, I don't even think they have power steering in these things. It's like, this is what tell me if I'm wrong for thinking this. It's like driving a boat with a bus steering wheel.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Elbows up the whole time.
You got to drive these machines, and you did that here tonight, Greg. An amazing finish and showing for you. You're going to walk away with a handful of points. So before we let you go for tonight, would you like to give any final shout-outs, thank yous, love yous, maybe thank anybody back home or at the race shop?
First off, I'd like to thank Joe and congrats on your second place finish. He does my paint schemes, badass paint scheme we got on there. And then love my girlfriend who watches me every weekend. So I appreciate it.
All right, my man. Well, if that's it, we're going to let you enjoy the rest of your evening. Congratulations on the podium run here tonight. We'll see if you can produce another next week at Talladega. But as always, stay safe, stay fast, and we'll see you next week.
All righty. Thank you much.
All right, there you have it. Final few words for the band that walks away third here tonight. And we're hearing word they have finally gotten that 64 to victory lane. So let's see if we can't dial up and have a word with the man behind the wheel of the 64. Going to pick up his second win of the season now. William, it's Dave. How you feeling, bud?
Feeling pretty good, Dave. Good to hear you again. How's your night been going?
It's been going pretty good. Had some great racing action out there on track to watch. Some crazy flips. You know, I think me and your teammate Joe came up with the best flip award for the season. So something new to the mix because you guys out there just, you know, you're laying down fast times, great racing, and then you guys have some of the best acrobatics I've seen in forever.
Well, I saw Joe flipping in my mirror. I definitely looks like he walked away all right, and they got him repaired, and patched up, and back out there. So it was great to race against him for the win. Um, but yeah, I don't know what exactly happened off turn 4 with me in the 48. I know I slid up a little bit. I know he was side drafting. I honestly wanted to blame netcode for that because that happens a lot when you're side drafted. Netcode definitely causes a lot of unnecessary wrecks. Just glad that the pit crew was glad to patch the car back up and get me back out there. After that, it was after having to use my fast repair. It was just conservative mode. I wasn't out there to try and push as hard and like I was at the beginning. You know, running second, third there most of the beginning of the race. So.
Well, you walk away with first place points here tonight. You came into tonight sitting fifth in the point standings in these 87 machines. It's going to give you a big bump forward as a lot of your competitors at the top of these point standings for the 87 season had trouble here tonight. So how you feeling about Talladega with the opportunity to possibly walk out of this thing as the 87 champion?
I'm not even worried about the championship right now within the 87s. It's just surviving Talladega right now. 5 laps to go at Talladega. That's when you really need to see where you're at and start making your move and try and do something. But, no point in risking it all just to finish it, just to lose it all. Definitely next week, definitely probably just keep my same strategy that I've been using at Daytona that's got me the 2 wins here. So, um, yeah, and next week is just a gamble. Talladega is just like Daytona. It's just a 200-mile-an-hour chess game.
Well, man, a chess game indeed, and you called checkmate on the field here tonight, walking away with your second win of the 87 season, second win of the overall season as well. So, congratulations with all of that. Before we let you go, though, would you like to give any final shout outs, thank yous, love yous?
Thank you, Joe. Awesome for picking me up as a teammate. Single car team here, and Joe picked me up. Saw that I had some potential and needed some people, good people to be around, and definitely thank you for picking me up. Great racing there for at the end, Joe. Dylan, you did a great job. We worked well together. I want to say hi to my wife. Love you, kids. They're too young, but they watch a lot of YouTube, so you never know. They might scroll across one of your replays and see this, and 20 years down the road. So definitely love my boys, Lucian and Declan. So, and
Whoa.
definitely thank you, Dave, for putting up such an awesome broadcast every week and just being here. Um, I know it's not easy doing broadcast because I've just tried it myself just to practice, and it's like there's a lot going on that you kind of have to focus on and just see, and you miss stuff though, which happens because there's just so much going on, and definitely appreciate the hard work you do up there in the booth.
Well, we absolutely appreciate those kind words. I know all of the other fellow broadcasters that may stumble upon this will appreciate that recognition as well, because there's a lot going on in the booth, but maybe not as much as going on in the car. Maybe you guys can focus a little bit more on one singular thing, but without the great racing product on track, we can provide the great racing product that we do. So at the end of the day, it's all up to you guys, and we appreciate everything you guys do out on the track. Congratulations on that second win here tonight. We'll see how things go with you. Maybe you can walk away with another win, possibly a championship next week at Talladega. But until then, my friend, as always, stay safe and keep it fast.
Yes, sir. You have a great night. You stay safe as well, and remember, peace, love, and bacon.
Bacon!
Yes, lots of it.
All right, there it is. Peace, love, and bacon. You heard him say it over on the YouTube chat side of things at the beginning of tonight's race, and we mentioned it, and here it is. We got the Drift King. Can we call him the Bacon Man? I mean, his car sponsor, we kind of can't say that. You know what I mean? We can't call him the Blank Man. If you know, you know. You can tell by the helmet, but I don't think we're going to be allowed to use that one. But Bacon Man, that might work. Don't want to call him Bacon Boy. That's just weird. All right, enough of that. What a race. What a night. What a win. Again, behind the wheel of that 64 machine, Brian Britton going to take the top spot in the checkered flag in race number 3 behind the wheel of these 87 machines. What a night we had. Some crazy little cautions and flips, some carnage, chaos, but that is restrictor plate racing. And as producers hit those buttons in the background, you know the sounds, you know it's time for us to run down tonight's unofficial race results in the Daytona 200, brought to you by the National Association of Stock Car Virtual Racing. The Masters of the Draft checkered flag belongs to the 64 of William Britton. Joe Wells going to come home second with Gregory Thurlow back in third. Fourth place tonight to Andrew Moore with Dylan Picklesheimer leading the most laps but walking away in fifth. The Drift King, Jacob Drift, going to come home sixth. Daryl Johnson in seventh. Travis Gilbert back in eighth. Ninth place tonight to the 74 of Zach Alanin with Darren Mack finishing out the year top 10. Mark Willett in 11th. Dakota Bailey back in 12th. Larry Bruner going to fall to 13th. Bowman Pendergrass in 14th. Landon Lacey, Brandon Browning, Scott Wise, Corey Coe in your top 18. 19th tonight from Daytona is Patrick Langley with Adam Benefill and David Duke finishing out the 21 car field. That's going to do it for us. We're going to begin to roll up the cords and cut off the lights and head to Talladega. But before we go, if you haven't already, remember to join us in that push to 4,000 subscribers. Show these drivers the love. Drop that thumbs up, click subscribe, and smash that bell. Over there on the right-hand side, get notified anytime we go live here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. So from myself, David the Cave, and everybody else back at the Turn 3 headquarters, we appreciate each and every one of you. Stay safe, stay loved, my friends, and until next time, we'll meet you in Turn 3.